What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Burbon. I'm coming at you with another video. And just a few weeks ago, we ended up seeing the launch of one of the worst gaming disasters ever in the form of Concord. It launched with 70% fewer players than its open beta, and it had an all-time peak sitting at just 697 players. This game cost roughly around $200 million, upwards to $250 million, and took 8 years to develop. And just the other day, we had this announced. PlayStation pulls the plug on Concord, shuts game down after less than 2 weeks. This was an abysmal failure for a game that they did focus in on inclusion, diversity, and all that stuff, giving pronouns to your character roster, having just disturbingly ugly characters to pick from when it came to the hero roster, and just an all-around bad idea. Spending 8 years on a hero shooter for $250 million, that was just a dumb idea out the gate. But because this game got shut down after nobody played it, we ended up seeing the usual suspects come out of the woodworks to virtue signal over its failure. IGN writer Stella Chung claims PlayStation never believed in Concord after game is shut down in less than 2 weeks. And I decided to pull up her Twitter account. By the way, we're going to be doing a lot of Twittering today. And I just want to read you what she says. My heart breaks for Firewalk Studios. The fact that it wasn't even given at least 6 months to properly sit through a season and adjust as a proper live service game is insane to me. It's very clear PlayStation didn't believe in this from the start and failed to support it. Well, they gave it $200 million, upwards to $250 million, 8 years to develop, and then put it out just to see nobody engaging with it. This is what we called a free market, in which the customer didn't come out to play the game on Steam or PlayStation, only selling 25,000 copies altogether on both platforms. So they did the smart move and cut their losses as they shut down the game that obviously wasn't building a player base. That's basic economics. But these people don't understand basic economics. These people are petulant and children that the moment anything that has maybe a little bit of their ideology in it gets shut down or pulled, they have to throw a temper tantrum all about it. Well, it wasn't just Stella over here that decided to come out of the woodworks and make statements. We ended up having this wonderful clip. Now, for those of you who are unaware of who this lovely man is, this is Greg Miller from Kinda Funny. And you want to see what he had to say in his cope session?
Out of the scuttlebutt from the trolls around the world. They're like, oh, DEI leads to this. Like, no, that is not what killed Concord. That is not what is killing Suicide Squad.
That is one of the factors that killed both games, both Concord and Suicide Squad, was their sole focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion in actually building out the game. You can see it in just Concord's character roster. It was diversity up the wazoo, filled with pronouns and some of the ugliest characters I've ever seen in video games. But they can't accept the reality that their ideology isn't popular. They can't accept that maybe people don't want this game, and they can't accept that maybe two things can be true at once. You come over here to Vera Dark, who has this nice little screenshot of Christopher Dring over here, who does do some decent game analysis now and then, but he decided to come out here and say, dear fanboys, when a game on the console you don't own doesn't do very well, whether it's Concord or Hellblade or NES World Championship, it's not a win for you. Nobody won. Actually, the gamers won. If the game was bad, it shuts down, it gets pulled. That's a win, because that was a bad game. That tells the industry that, hey, these weren't good games. Let's learn from these mistakes and go out to make a better game. Let's go out to make a good game that gamers will come out and actually enjoy. But you see Vera Dark here. Dear activists, when a game doesn't do very well, whether it's Concord or Suicide Squad, because it's got so many problems like clunky gameplay, awful character designs, cringe backstories, and outdated monetization systems, then it's abandoned. It's a win for us. Gamers won. True. Because again, gaming industry, what should happen, what probably won't happen, they learn from their mistakes and they move forward trying to craft a better game. Hopefully that happens. I highly doubt it. But we also had Alexa Ray Curies over here, writer, narrative designer, and professional yapper for video games, TV, now senior writer, Marvel EA's Black Panther Secrets. Oh, hey, hi, Marvel's Black Panther Secrets. Oh, that's a wonderful game that's set to come out. The precedence this will set is not great. This is going to give certain people ideas. If the game wasn't successful, if all you guys who are coming out of the woodworks to virtue signal over on Twitter decided to, chip out $40 for the game and actually sat down and played the game and had a larger player base at 697 players on launch, maybe this wouldn't be happening. Maybe the game would still be moving forward, and maybe, just maybe, we wouldn't be seeing it shut down. But you guys don't get that. You guys don't understand that fact because, again, they're petulant, entitled children. We also had Elisa Haddock, who I don't know who this they, them is. By the way, they even say they, them in their bio. Part of Letterboxd, Crunchyroll, Gibbiz, Verge, Upload VR, all sorts of interesting things that I'm extremely worried that they're connected to. But you see them scared of the precedents here. I'd be shocked if this comes back even free to play. Or are we just going to allow companies to throw 8 years of work chasing trends at publisher behest in the dirt after a week because it didn't perform? Then what? Even more layoffs in an industry ravaged by it? Guess what? It's ravaged by layoffs due to poor management skills, poor game development, and games underperforming. That is the reason this is going on right now, including your DEI operatives and all your DEI departments. Yeah, that doesn't help out either. Gamers want good games. They don't want this annoying propaganda being shoved in their face all day long. And again, the game wasn't performing. It cost roughly $200 million to $250 million and only made $1 million in 2 weeks. That is not a good sign, and that is not a stable system for economic growth. That is basic economics. If the game is underperforming, it gets shut down. But they then decided to continue on. Really feels like this is a nicer way to cancel and kill a game than outright saying it. But whether it is or there are genuine plans to bring it back, what a horrid precedent to just let any company have this much control over the state of already released titles. Nobody was playing it. It was a live service game. That means they need a steady revenue system to be coming in constantly. Nobody was playing game. No money coming in. No point in continuing to make game. Simple enough. But again, these freaks don't understand that. Oh, wait, we also had another Veridark. The Cope and Seethe is beginning. You get Jason Schreier over here. Wild news, PlayStation's new game Concord has performed so poorly that the company is pulling it from stores and refunding anyone who bought it. Good move, that's true, that's true. Every time a live service game with no hook or strong word of mouth fails to penetrate an oversaturated market, the most annoying people on the planet will be there to blame diversity. Well, I mean, if the shoe fits, sorry, but it's true. Diversity is one of the factors that led to this game being shut down. It wasn't the major factor, but it is one of the many factors that led to this game being shut down. Let's not mince words here. If this game was filled with different Sydney Sweeneys all over the place, I still don't think this game would have done as well, considering hero shooters are basically on the way out. Maybe, just maybe, there's other factors besides just DEI that led to this game failing. Just a thought process there, okay? Just a simple thought process. But then we get to my favorite one, my personal favorite one. Our Alithamer Conte, hand-clapping friend himself, the man that decided to come out in a stream with Alithamer Conte and disparage Stellar Blade, attack all gamers who were against Alithamer Conte and might be free-thinking individuals, decided to come out here and say the most brain-dead thing I've ever seen. I just absolutely hate that Chuds will take this as a win, and it will embolden them to be even worse. I hate it so much. If your sole goal in life is to own the Chuds, and by the way, this also goes to the other side as well. If your sole goal in life is to own the libs, doesn't matter. what your sole goal is. If you're just there to own the chuds or the libs, you're gonna fail. If that is your thought process going into making a game or making just about anything creative, you will fail because you're not focused in on what gamers actually want, which is good games, good storytelling, good mechanics, what have you. If you're solely focusing in on this small little thing, you failed from day one. And yes, Jeremy's right. Gamers won. I do like this AI picture. I find it funny and hilarious. But I'm gonna bring us over here to Quarter Black. Star Wars Acolyte failed. Doctor Who failed. Star Trek failed. Indiana Jones failed. Rings of Power failed. Dustborn failed. Concord failed. Star Wars Outlaws failed. Starfield failed. MCU Phase 4 failed. If you black pill, it means you're gay. Yeah. What do all these have in common? Okay, what do each and every last one of these things have in common right now, huh? The overt focus on the message. Message over storytelling. Ideology over storytelling. That's what led all these properties here to fail and to be buried in a sea of better content that has been coming out. Oh, but there's one more. There's one more. Neon. Neon has this wonderful take. Now, this is a few days old. This take came out before the Concord shutdown, but I find this take to be some of the most apt and informative take thus far. It's why we're seeing people freak out about the Acolyte. It's why we're seeing people freak out about Concord. It's why we're seeing these freaks go all over the place screaming and shouting because their content's getting shut down. Theory. The Terminally Online reacts so caustically to anyone who covers games and pop culture from a different point of view because it's been nothing but the message for the last decade. This is all they've known, and they believed the lie that this is what the majority of gamers and nerds actually wanted. Now the numbers and finances say otherwise. There's no more free money in the form of venture capital to keep propping it all up. Remember, a lot of the DEI money is drying up. A lot of these funds that have been funding a bunch of these things, they're drying up because they're not actually seeing the return on investment that they were promised. First it was denial, now it's anger. Eventually, they have to accept it. I hope so. Right now, all they can do is rage at the people they think caused the pendulum to swing back hard. But YouTubers and influencers are not to blame. The general audience is. You just never got the memo because you lived in a bubble. The industry you knew from the last decade or so never really existed. It was an illusion propped up with private equity and a lie reinforced by the media outlets, also propped up with venture capital. We only see the truth now that they can't afford to keep up the illusion. Oh, and they lost Twitter. That is huge. It was a critical node. Everything he's saying is very apt. Venture capital money is drying up. Okay? All these investment firm monies, they're drying up. They're losing out. They're struggling. They're having issues. And the sole fact that they don't have Twitter to perpetuate their ongoing psychotic message all over the place means that they are out of power. So they're going to rant, they're going to rage, and they're going to blame everything on the chuds instead of accept reality that their content wasn't interesting in the first place. Nobody wanted to actually play these games, and that they've been sold a lie the entire time. If Concord was this huge success that they're saying that it could have possibly been, then where were you? Where were you to chip out that $40 to buy the game and be playing it opening day? Where were you to make sure that your all-time peak wasn't 697 players on launch? Where were you? Obviously, you were nowhere around. But now, instead of accepting that maybe you live in a fringe reality and that people really don't agree with you, you're trying to blame everybody else for this failure. But it ain't going to work, and people are just going to continue to point and laugh at you. I'm going to leave it there, though. Let me get you guys' thoughts on all this down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with friends, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video live, guys, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye for now.